Am I the only one who thinks Kizaru has a problem? So hey, we get it. You're confused, you want to stay with the Marines, but you have emotional connection to the people that they ordered to assassinate. What do you do? So yeah, that's the video. What do you do? And I think I sort of have an idea on what he's going to do. So before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps channel out a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. So, crazy people, you're back with the One Piece Nerd, and today let's talk about Kizaru. Again, we've talked about him plenty of times before, but specifically this time around. We all know that at some point, all the Marines will be against the world government. It's been a trend ever since, if I can recall, post-Marineford, when Aokiji left after fighting Akainu for the position of the Grand Fleet, for the position of Fleet Admiral, and now it's time for Kizaru to change. Kizaru, we've known a lot about him this time around. We know that he has connections to like people with Vegapunk, Bonnie, Kuma, who he insanely cares about. He wasn't inhuman. He isn't a robot. And considering how Egghead is shaping up to be, hey look, the world government's trying to build a robot so that they don't get defied by the robots. What ends up happening is, woohoo, big shocker, robots can still be out of control if something has been done to them. And Vegapunk, being the kind man he is, did it. And now we're talking about Kizaru, who is, in actual honesty, a human being, who has feelings, who isn't a robot, who isn't a slave to the world government, and whose justice system, or whose quote-unquote moral values don't always end up with the world government. Unlike Akainu, unlike Green Bull, who have built their entire persona on the fact that the world government are the ones that are right. They are the one who make the rules, they're the one that are good. Everyone else that defies the world government is bad. Unless that is your motto, there is no way that you won't be defying the world government at a certain point. And Kizaru is the same. Now, of course, I do believe after this arc, I want Kizaru to be on the side with Luffy against the world government, to be specific, the same way Fujitora was, the same way Aokiji is. And with Kizaru, that is going to happen. But what is it going to happen this arc? I believe that we will see hints. We've already seen a little bit of hint where Kizaru is sort of holding back against Frankie, against Sanji, so that Vegapunk has time to escape. And there are times we've seen Kizaru not finish Sentomaru and not do anything against Vegapunk, not do anything against Bonnie, just trying to play the safe game as long as he can and trying to make sure that Bonnie and everyone else he cares about is safe, and so that his alliance with the world government is still neutral. So yeah, again, there's a flaw in all of this. At some point, Saturn will be pissed. He will be pissed at the fact that Kizaru is not doing anything significant, and it's going to be rough. Then again, remember, Kizaru doesn't have feelings for Luffy and the Straw Hats. So yeah, we can see Kizaru going face to face and like 100% with them. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the boiling point of not letting Kuma, Vegapunk, and Bonnie escape, Kizaru, I believe, will not play an active role in that because of what we've seen and because of what he's doing right now. Now, do I imagine a world where by the end of Egghead, Kizaru basically parts ways with the world government and gets out with the Straw Hats and Vegapunk to a different destination, saving Sentomaru and everything else, and leaves the world government? No, I do not see that happening ever, because the only person that had the guts to defect the Marines for good was Aokiji. Nobody else in their right minds would ever defy the world government. Kuzan was strong. He was smart, he knew what he was doing, and in fact it worked out well. But that is not going to be the same for everybody else. Fujitora, being the kind of man he is, who doesn't judge upon what the world government considers as good and bad, but judges upon his own perspective and his own moral values, will not ever be thinking twice of defying the world government. He can try to fix it. He will try to fix it. He's probably doing the same when abolishing the Shichibukai system. He will try to continuously do what Kuzan tried to do, but he will never leave the world government. And I think the same could be said for Kizaru, because obviously the man says it himself. He's a cog in the machine. He just has to go with the flow. There is no man inside of him right now that would say, you're not a cog in the machine, you can change, there is a different direction you can go to, and so you will. So I do see this happening. I see Saturn dying by the end of Egghead Island. I can see that happening, whether it be through Blackbeard or Luffy himself. Saturn has to die. There has to be a downfall of the Gorosei, because if that doesn't happen, Luffy cannot properly establish himself as an emperor. And if Blackbeard is ever going to be making a move, a fast move, and an effective one, in a world where he does take Saturn's fruit, I think that is a huge blow to the world government, and I feel like this has to be happening. Now, with that being said, Kizaru will still leave with the Marines, making sure that the rest of the Marines are well, and report back to HQ. I do not see him changing sides. If he does end up changing sides, though, he will change sides by the end of the whole thing, by the end of One Piece, because that is when he will probably come to understand that he is not a cog in the machine. Whatever he did now, the significance of letting Bonnie live and Bonnie becoming a menace for the Marines, and seeing how the Marines the world government is not always right, and he can go against his fate, against the flow of time, or against the flow of life, and become something completely different. I think that is definitely going to take place in the future of the story, and that will come into full effect, because it would be a grand thing to see where Fujitora, Aokiji, and Kizaru ends up changing sides when Luffy and the others are fighting against the world government and they are not on their sides, and that would be insane to see. Now is definitely not the right time, and if this is the time, if Oda is deciding to do it, I think Kizaru ends up dying here as well if he does end up changing sides. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Kizaru will live by the end of Egghead Island? Do you think Kizaru will change sides now or later? That's it for the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Until then, peace.